Good afternoon, my name is César Ayala, and this project is about how to improve student success in high school who are at risk of becoming high school dropouts. The high school that the project was selected is in Arizona. Arizona has a graduation rate rank of 43 in the United States. In 2013, Arizona had a graduation rate of 75.14% for four-year graduates and a 79.29% for five-year graduates. In 2014, Arizona had the graduation rate of 75.76% in four-year graduates and an 80.17% for five-year graduates. Now, Arizona consists a lot of Hispanics and Native American. Hispanics and Native American have the lowest passing rate in the whole United States. Native Americans are number one, closely to the 60%, and Hispanics are closely to the 70% with a passing rate and has the lowest passing rate. Now, the state of Arizona wants to increase the graduation rate to 90% by 2020. We can see from 2013 to 2014 that Arizona's graduation rate only increased by less than 1%. This image shows that Texas is at number one with the passing rate with an 88%. Arizona is at a 75.1 average of passing rate, and Oregon falls below as last with a 68.7%. Now, the United States passing rate is at an 81.4%. Now, the thing is, Arizona falls below the mean of the passing rate of the United States. A school was selected in Arizona, which the school is a high school, which is a charter school. This high school is divided into 4 blocks. The first 2 blocks are in the first semester, and the last 2 blocks are in the second semester. The first block with the second block, there was a passing rate of 68.9% and an attendance rate of 80.5% for the students. The organization who the charter school is under wants a passing rate of 75% and an attendance rate of 90%. Now, the objective of this project is to try to get as close to that mark or accomplish that mark. So we want to improve the attendance rate and the passing rates of students. Now, the attendance rate and the passing rate is believed to be intertwined with one another, because if a student has poor attendance rate, it will lower their passing rate. But if they have a lower passing rate, it will affect their attendance rate, because a student might feel that they don't need to come to school because they're already failing, and why would they want to bother coming to school? The information was provided by the school about parent education level, student level education level, how they did in other schools, if they're employed, if their parents are employed, and other information. There are 4 topics selected that is believed to be important of why students do not attend school. Graph 1 demonstrates the parent education level. Graph 2 demonstrates the household living arrangements. Graph 3 demonstrates parents' employment. And Graph 4 demonstrates student employment. Now, if we look at Graph 1, we can determine that around 50% of students' parents only attended up to a high school diploma. 10% fall below completing an 8th grade level. 18% only completed 8th grade. And 21% only completed a high school diploma. If we look at Graph 2, the household living arrangement, most of the students with a 44% live with one parent. Now, a lot of these students not only live with one parent, but they live with siblings. 25% live with both parents, while the rest of the students either live with another family member, they live in a foster home or foster care, or are homeless. Now, parents' employments are at 19% with being unemployed and 61% having an employment. Now, a lot of these students, like it was mentioned, only live with one parent, and they only got up to high school level. A lot of these kids feel that they need to work to bring money to the house because only one income from a parent is not cutting it. So they help with the resources like clothes, if they need books, they need shoes, they need food, and different other stuff. Now, Graph 4 demonstrates that we have around 7.9% of the students working more than 30 hours, which that is how much a regular adult would work. 16 to 29 hours per week are at 11% of the student body, and 50% of the hours that they're working, only 6.5% of the students work with that. So a lot of students fall between working at a 16 to 29 hours, which is at 11%. The rest work or 30 hours or less than 15 hours. Now, 52% of the students have no employment, but this is a number that is lowering, and the students that have employment, it's going up. The thing is, a lot of these students feel that it is more important to work and bring money to the house versus they going to high school, because a lot of parents did not graduate high school, only got up to a high school diploma. So when they start working, they feel that it's not important if they come to school because they're already bringing money to the table, and that is more important. They can put a little bit more food on the table, they can put another new t-shirt or shoe on a brother or a sister. So they feel it's more important to work, so they stop attending school. There's nobody that cares for them. They believe that nobody that wants them to achieve a high school diploma, because half of the parents only got up to a high school diploma or below. The project has no cost. Their project is in time value is worth being the cost. Now, gathering data, entering data, and comparing data is the biggest part of the project. The methodology of the project is broken down into 7 steps. First step is obtaining information. The information was obtained and was given to by the high school. Parent education level, if the student's employment, parent employment, how they're doing in this school or in another school, and other information. Now the information was compared and a hypothesis was made. The hypothesis that was made is students don't believe that they have to come to school because either it is more important to bring money to the table and they can feed a brother or a sister, or nobody cares because their parents didn't go to college or they didn't achieve anything else. They feel they also don't need to achieve anything higher. A plan of action was made was that teachers in the school will try to get to know better the students, so they feel somebody actually cares that they graduate, somebody's actually looking out for them, and somebody wants them to achieve their maximum potential, which they'll feel accountable, and they'll feel that they will have to come to school because they don't want to let that special person down that actually cares about them and is looking to see they achieve their maximum potential. The action then it was implemented in step 5. Step 6 is gather all the information and compare it, and step 7 determine if the hypothesis is actually a theory or it just stays as an hypothesis. The schedule goes like this. The information was gathered between November 20 and December 14. The data was compared between December 1 and December 18. At the last week of school, an hypothesis was made between December 18 and December 22. Between the break of Block 2 and Block 3 before Block 3 started, a plan of action was decided. At the first week of Block 3, the plan of action was implemented, which was between January 4th and January 8th. The plan of action did not end being implemented there, but that was where it was given the biggest push. This plan of action was selected for 10 students to test this hypothesis. The data was gathered between January 11 and February 11. The data was compared between February 10 and February 11, and a conclusion was made in February 11 about the hypothesis. Here we can see our results. Table 1 demonstrates the student information before. Table 2 is going to demonstrate the student information after. Graph 5 determines the student's attendance. We can see being compared from how their attendance was before the plan and how their attendance was after the plan of action was implemented. Graph 6 will determine the student passing rate before and the passing rate after. Now, the before is being symbolized by blue and the after is being symbolized by orange. There are 4 types of categories that go. The lowest category, which is 0, is being the student dropped out of high school. category number 1, the student has poor attendance rate, and for passing rate is also the same thing as poor. Now, for poor attendance rate is qualified as the student is missing around half of the school block. They haven't showed up for a big portion of the school time. While pass rate means the student is failing with an F. Moderate will indicate for attendance that the student is showing most of the time but still missing around 8-9 days of school. While passing rate, it means that the student has a D. Good will indicate that the student is only missing around 1 or 2 days of school and they're passing with a C or above. If we look at graph 5, we can see that the attendance rate going from before and after the students and the passing rate was improved by 5 students, and 5 students didn't show any improvement. Student 1, 4, 6, 8, and 9 showed improvement, while student 1, if you see in graph 1, they will grow in their attendance rate, so also their passing rate grew. Now, the students that didn't show improvement were student 2, 3, 5, 7, and 10. If we look at student number 2, from the 10 students that were selected, this was the only student that actually dropped out. That's why it went from them having a poor attendance rate and passing rate to having 0, which means they dropped out. If we compare student number 2 to number 1, we can see the difference. Now, student number 3, if you notice, their attendance rate and their passing rate was poor, and it continued to their after also their attendance rate and passing rate was poor. Students that got a job from block 1 and 2 were student 4 and 8. At the beginning of the semester, they didn't have a job. By the block 3, they had a job, but they also improved their attendance rate and passing rate. Now, with this information, a conclusion was made that the hypothesis was inconclusive because they showed improvement, but not improvement significant enough to determine that this was a theory, because some students showed improvement, some students say neutral. So there was a partial success, but not the high amount enough of success with the theory was going to be determined. Now, it was determined that at step 7, which was the decision, now the decision that was made, it would be determined that it will go back to step 2, the information would be gathered, and that the information that was going to be gathered will be, again, make a new hypothesis, make a new hypothesis, make a new plan of action, and determine if that new hypothesis is a theory. But because this hypothesis was determined inconclusive, if we select a bigger amount of student body or 10 different students, we can determine if this hypothesis it is actually a theory, or if this hypothesis is not a theory, it's just a guess. So the 2 steps that will be done for block 4 of the student is selecting either a bigger group of 20 students to monitor and to implement this plan of action, or selecting 10 students. If the result is the same, it will be determined that the hypothesis it is not a theory. That is all for the project of how to improve student success. You have a good day.